What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is actually going to be a tips and tricks video, unlike any other one of my videos. This is strictly school related, like tips and tricks. And I wanted to do this video because I feel like it's time for me to just share some of my tips and tricks with people who may be struggling with school or are kind of like wondering like, oh, why is it so like hard or this and that? And I know school is hard. I'm not saying it's easy by any means, and I literally don't float by. Like, it's just not easy for me, but I really put in my time to study, and I have really good study habits. And I actually spoke to my boyfriend about this, and I was like, do you think that would be like a good video to do? And he was like, honestly, I think it would be, because you are really good at studying, and you do apply yourself, and I think that some of your insight could help some of your followers. And if you're interested in watching this video, of course, like, please stay tuned. I really hope that what I tell you guys today helps you. But when I got home from school today, I was like, all right, I think I'm gonna film this video because I just took my last final. Mind you, I feel like crap today. Like, I woke up and it took every ounce of energy in my body to get up and go to school because I have my period, and I just have like really bad cramps and just fatigue and tired. And I was just like, oh my God, but I have to go because I actually had two finals today. I had an oral final, and then I also had a written final. So it's not like I couldn't go to school. Like, I had to go to school. So anyway, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And if you do, please give it a thumbs up. And if you guys have any tips and tricks that I don't mention, post them down below, because I think that school is so important. And I think that if you have to go to school, or if you're even forced to go to school by like your parents or whatever, you might as well do good while you're there. So the first tip that I wanted to give you guys is YouTube. And I know you guys are going to think that's so cliche. No, I'm being 110% serious. By the way, if the light is going in and out, I'm just doing this quickly on my iPad. This is kind of like a messy video, if you will, but I really wanted to share this with you guys. And I'm sitting in front of my window, and for whatever reason, it's like sunny, then cloudy, then sunny, then cloudy. So that's why it looks like that. But this is okay. It's not like you guys have to see what I'm doing. You just have to hear me out. That's the main point of this video. So YouTube helped me out a lot. It helped me out a lot, especially with general education courses, or any course at that, honestly. What am I talking about? Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys my instance where YouTube, like, where this is where I discovered YouTube, and I was like, all right, YouTube is the ish because it teaches you everything and it breaks it down. So I was taking human biology. Now, I am not the best in like science. Like, honestly, it's very interesting to me, but I'm not the best when it comes to science. I'm actually very good at math, even though I hate it. I'm very good at writing. I love literature. I love to read. I love learning vocab words. I love that type of schoolwork. I don't really like you know, like the science behind it and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I was taking human biology, and I got my midterm grade back, you know, kind of like when they tell you like where you're at as far as your midterm grade. And I was at a D-, okay? And I literally almost started crying. I was like, what? Like, I need this course. I'm going to fail this course. And you have to have a science, you have to have your bio. So I was freaking the hell out. I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, I've been applying myself as best as I can. It's really hard to like understand. Like, it's hard to read a textbook and understand what they're saying. And sometimes it's hard to understand your professor because they skip sections or they don't explain it right. Everybody has their own way of teaching. I'm not dogging like any professors or anything like that. They are professionals. They know what they're doing, but you know, everybody has a different teaching style, and everybody also has a different learning style. So I was like, all right, I'm not really getting this. So my first test was like a 50, like my second test, mind you, I never get grades like that. Like, I was literally heartbroken. Like, I would get my test and I'm like, are you like, is this mine? Like, are you sure this is mine? So for my third and fourth test, I was like, all right, let me try something different. I was like, obviously I'm not understanding the material because I'm getting the questions wrong. So I had to do a project on the urinary system. Now, I'm not talking about like the basic like kidneys. No, I'm not talking about like in depth, because the higher you move up, the more in depth things become, and you learn more and more. So it's like one thing, and then you're inside that one thing, and then you're inside that other one thing. And it's just like a nonstop like learning experience. Like, there's so much to learn about one particular part of the body. So anyway, I had to do a urinary system presentation, and I had no idea where to even start. Like, I looked at the chapter and I'm like my brain was just like, like, it just wasn't clicking. So I went online to YouTube and I found videos of urinary systems, and I just watched it and rewatched it, and everything made sense. And then I had to present a PowerPoint, and I'm sitting up there presenting my PowerPoint, and I know exactly what I'm talking about thanks to YouTube. So that really helps. It just helps you understand the terms that they're using, why they use those terms, why certain things are called what, this and that. And when you see a visual of something, it's almost like your mind retains it better, as opposed to trying to memorize all these terms and memorize these processes without an image. So YouTube definitely helps. And I'm telling you, it helps with anything. You could use YouTube for math. You can use it for social work. You can use it for any field. There's always going to be relatable videos to that topic, and it's going to help you. Another thing was I had to do a pig dissection. almost threw up, literally. So it was a 2-week pig dissection. The first week I went, I got completely grossed out. I didn't even touch the pig. I was like, people in my group like did the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm not doing this. So, and mind you, our pig was like deteriorated. Like my pig was like practically like brown. It wasn't even pink. It was just like, it was deteriorated. And my professor said the same thing. She was like, this is not really a good pig, but we're just going to have to use it. I was like, okay. So then I was like, all right, well now I have to go next week and dissect the rest of this pig, and I'm already grossed out and who knows what color it is now. So I decided to stay home from lab that day, and I just watched pig dissection videos on YouTube, and I got a like 95 on the lab test. I was like, wow, I didn't even need to do these dissections. And that's what I'm saying. Basically, like, you can just figure out a way to use YouTube to help you, especially with the visual images. It's always nice to actually look at something and then have somebody explaining it. And there's a bunch of people on there on YouTube that do it like very creatively and very interactively, and it comes out really nice and it's very easy to understand. The next thing is flashcards. Now, you can't use flashcards for all tests. I'm a witness of that because this semester I had a midterm and a final where I couldn't possibly do flashcards for this. It was way too much information to retain. It's not like it wasn't that type of final. But flashcards are amazing. My friend literally, and I started using flashcards probably like 2 semesters ago, which is crazy. But my friend would always snap me like a bajillion flashcards that she has, and she is in school for dental hygiene. So I was like, maybe I should try flashcards. And I know it sounds funny, but flashcards really help, not only because you're writing out the information and you're writing out all the answers, but after you write your flashcards out, you're going to see that when you go over to read them, you're going to almost retain what you wrote because it's like a visual, like you're remembering what you wrote. So that's a really good way to study, as well as mnemonic devices. Now, if you don't know what a mnemonic device is, it's basically like a context clue within the word that helps you remember what it means. So for example, one of my terms was disseminate in social work, disseminating a report. And basically what disseminating means was me like, it's like presenting the report, showing it to your stakeholders, blah, 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 stuff like that. So I was like, all right, how am I going to remember this? Like, that's so many terms to remember. So I thought of the word discuss. Now you think of disseminate, and then you think of discuss, and then you kind of get an idea. So now discuss literally comes into my brain, and I'm like, all right, so now this means that I'm going to be presenting the report, blah, blah, blah. And that's how you remember things. That's an example of a mnemonic device. And you can make them up yourself, and whichever way you want to. You guys would be literally like, would crack. All right, I'll tell you one of the mnemonic devices that I like created myself because I was like, what? How am I going to remember this? All right, so it's left and right in Spanish. I know this is so funny, you guys, so embarrassing. All right, left and right. So left in Spanish, this is my right. Your left. Left in Spanish is izquierda, and then right in Spanish is derecha. And I was like, all right, how am I going to remember this? Like, they don't start with an R, they don't start with an L, you know what I mean? So I thought of the right, de right, derecha. Does that make sense? That's how I remembered it. So basically, it's like a little context clue kind of that you put within the word or within the definition, whatever, that helps you remember what the definition or word or whatever it is. You know what I mean? That's a corny one, but literally, like, there's so many corny ones. Like, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally for math. Hello. Like, those are mnemonic devices. So those are really, really helpful, especially when you're doing definitions. All right, now, if you guys have a class where you can't do flashcards, in my case, I had a class that was like that, in my midterm and final were both like this. Basically, we went over the material in class. It's a lot of lecture, a lot of PowerPoints, a lot of copying, stuff like that. Some people in class use their iPads or they'll use their computers to type notes. I never use my iPad or computer to type notes. For me, I like to write my notes. Not only does it keep me awake in class, but it gives me something to do so that I'm kind of paying attention. Maybe not all there, but I'm kind of paying attention. And I'm writing and I know what I'm writing, and I'm rereading what I'm writing. So it helps me stay I wouldn't say like 110% paying attention, but it helps me stay with the class, if that makes any sense. And not only does that help with studying, but that just helps to keep your brain going while you're in class, so you're just not there like on your phone or on Snapchat or YouTube or whatever. So I really when I'm in class, I really just like to use my class time to do notes and things like that because it helps you retain the information. But for when he gave us the study guide, I looked at the study guide. I'm like, all right, well, I don't remember. Well, I did remember some of it, but I'm like, I'm never going to be able to memorize all these notes. It was a 14-page study guide for the midterm. And I literally like back, just like flipping through all these pages, and I'm like, there's no way I can do flashcards for this because like one topic has like 4 or 5 bullets with like extensive sentences. So it's like, how am I supposed to fit all this into one, you know, like one index card? And remember, like it's way too much. So for this particular assignment, what I did was, it was a social work research class. So it's like quantitative data, qualitative data, how to write reports, how to do surveys, things like that, stuff that you can't really like do flashcards for. So what I did was I took this packet and I read it and reread it and reread it until I understood the concept of every little thing. When it came to the midterm, I remembered what I read. If you sit there and you read it and you you try to understand it, you can even word it differently. You can word it differently in your mind where you're like, all right, well, this is what this means. I know this is what it says it means, but let me put it into my own words so that I know what it means. And then when it comes to the test and you read it the way that he wrote it, you're going to remember, oh, well, this is how I interpret that, so this is the answer. And that's just like, that really, really helped me. I actually ended up getting a 99 on that midterm, and I literally like almost fainted. I was like, what, really? I was so happy. And I'm not trying to brag here, you guys. I'm just letting you know my tips and tricks and what I do to study, because I really do have good study habits. If you have an assignment like that, just take the time. It's going to be time consuming. Like none of this is like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like this is probably like a few hours worth of material that you have to go over, but just sit there and read it. Speaking of time, do not wait the day before school, the day before your test to study, because it's not going to work. What I like to do is, for example, like for my midterm, I had that crazy 14-page packet. Now, if I would have sat there and read this the day before the midterm, number one, I wouldn't have remembered it. Number two, I would have put so much information into my brain that I wouldn't have been able to retain any of it. It's just like beating your brain to like the end of it. And then you're going to go and your brain is going to be fried and you're not going to be focused and you're not going to feel confident. And then you're going to go into the midterm and you're going to be like, all right, now I have to remember everything that I read. If you take a week before, not even a week, you can do like 3 or 4 days, whatever you need. In particular, for me, it's usually about 3 or 4 days. And you take this and you read it, read a section here, the next day read a section, then read both the sections on the third day, and then add a section. You're going to start to reread and reread everything, and it's just going to literally like stick into your brain. It's just going to stick in there. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself time and your brain time to like think about this stuff and retain it. You don't want to just force it in there and then it's gone. You know what I mean? In addition to that, if you're looking for the perfect time to study, study before you go to bed. Now, I'm talking about really study, like sit in your bed, read your notes, study. I swear to God, you're going to wake up the next morning and you're literally going to know everything that you read. For whatever reason, and I think there's studies on this because Griffin told me, when you read stuff before bed, your brain, like, I think it's almost like when you sleep, that's all you're thinking about. So your brain is just like putting this into files or something in your head and you're able to retain the information. The same thing happens with like songs. Like if you listen to a song before bed, you'll wake up the next day and you didn't know the lyrics then, and now you know some of the lyrics. Like it's crazy how your brain works. So definitely study before bed, or study whenever you can, but definitely get some studying and right before bed, because I swear it helps. Another thing is just to write things down, rewrite things down, reread things, whatever it takes to make you memorize or retain the information, even if it is just for the test, then do that for yourself. So there's this thing that I've been doing, me and Griffin's my boyfriend, we've been doing vocab words like every day. Literally, like he'll just come over and I'll be like, oh, I have a word for you. Like I'll come across a word and I'll write it down and I'll be like, all right, what does this mean? Use it in a sentence, blah, blah, blah. And we're kind of like building our vocabulary like this. And you can also do that by reading, but this is a really nice way to just add more vocabulary to your speech and when you're writing papers and things like that. And it's really, really helpful. And you can even do this by yourself online or something. Just look up like difficult words or good vocab words, anything like that. You're going to get a bunch of different words, and then you want to learn the word, use it in a sentence, and then on to the next word. And you're going to build your vocabulary, and you're going to have such an extensive vocabulary. It's just going to make you feel better about yourself. And then when you're reading like a text, you're gonna know what it means. And it's really nice just to keep your brain kind of going, especially during break, because I know during break everybody kind of gives up on school, but I'm the type of person that I like to keep up. Like I like to keep my brain running and going, because there's always things to learn and you're gonna learn something new every single day. I really hope that this helped you guys. If it did, give it a thumbs up. I know this is not a beauty related video, but it's just like a tips and tricks video, and I love to help you guys out and I love to help people out, which is why I'm in the social work field to begin with. So I really hope that this helps you guys guys in some sort of way, whether it's with school, with work, with life, whatever it may be. I love you guys. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I will see you guys in my next video. Love you. Bye.